Welcome to Movie World, the place where we only talk movies. I'm Andy Signore, and I'm here to review Scream, aka Scream 5, but they're not calling it Scream 5, they're calling it Scream, which means it's Scream 2022. And the film actually makes a joke about said title. So this is another meta installment of the franchise, but I gotta say this time, it might be one of their best. I'm not gonna spoil anything. However, I do think it was nice that it had sort of been a while since there's been a Scream movie. I didn't watch the Scream TV show on MTV, but I felt like the movie was just getting pretty silly. I love Scream 1. I really did enjoy it. Scream 2 had its fun. It was like fun to have everybody back. Scream 3 is when it starts getting a little sillier and sillier, and then Scream 4 again. It just, it's starting to become like every other silly slasher sequel. This one surprisingly felt like a pretty decent requel, as they literally call it in the film. The film makes a whole point to sort of address the elephant in the room, which is the fact that this is a reboot sequel with new characters, but legacy characters. So the rules of the new movie sort of involve all that stuff as well. I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised. I went in sort of expecting this to be another silly sort of Scream sequel, but I thought they did a pretty good job. What I really just missed was the genre in a way. It was really nice to have Ghostface back. Roger, who does the voice of Ghostface, was just so great in this movie. It's so the opening, everything just sort of starts in today's new technology with the door lock that you've seen in the trailer. Who uses a landline type of stuff. They really do try to embrace today's technology in addition to Ghostface sort of tactics. And it is a whodunit. As this poster tells you, the killer is on this poster. Now, is it? Are they tricking you? I will say, I like the ending. I gotta say, I like the ending. It's just, it's gonna keep you guessing, and they do justify everything they do pull out at the end. And I'm not gonna get any more because I don't want to get into spoilers. But overall, yeah, I think this was a ultimately fun, enjoyable slasher time at the movies. Now, I will say, I do recommend you sort of getting one, do a recap of the previous Scream movies, because I'll be honest, I'm a fan, but I watched the first one a few times, and then I never really watched the sequels again. And as I've gotten older, other stuff has sort of seeped in. Horror's never been my main genre, so I just sort of forgot, and I found a YouTube video. In fact, props to this. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see a good recap that I watched that sort of reminded me of things like previously on Scream in a way, which I'd forgotten sort of all the backstory. And I will say you don't need it. The film does a pretty good job at cleverly sort of, reminding you of the main characters and things in the history. It does sort of fill you in, and then you're on your sort of a new story anyway. So it all works. I think the filmmakers were great, but still, like, just knowing about Dewey and Gail's history, knowing about Sydney, knowing about Woodsboro, all that stuff would just help. I think if you at least watched a recap, or at least in the first Scream or so, it would help you in sort of enjoying this more. But I do think it's its own sort of movie. It's definitely making fun of reboots. Like it literally calls out Star Wars. It calls out a lot of movies and their reboots at a certain point. And there's one thing at the end I found intriguing, but I'd have to get into spoiler territory, so I'm not going to talk about it. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed the film. The new cast was pretty solid. She's from In the Heights. I don't actually know all their names. I'm sorry. I'm a little under the weather. It's not what you think it is, but I'm just trying to get this out, and I didn't get a chance to really learn everybody's names. It's a lot of new characters, but I do know she's from In the Heights, and he's from The Boys. Jack something. They're both good. I actually didn't love her character in The Heights. I did enjoy In the Heights, but I found her kind of annoying, and she's a lot better in this movie, as is her sister, who sort of starts the film out in the opening. She does a good job in the opening, and then these are sort of the other friends in the group that become the suspects. So throughout the film, you're trying to figure out, well, who could it be? My favorite part of the movie, hands down, is Dewey. David Arquette comes back, and I guess slight plot warning. This is I'm giving you a plot development about what happened, and so mute for a second if you don't want to hear this. Mute for 5 seconds, and you come back. Dewey and Gail have divorced, and that affects the movie because they've done that in real life, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the two characters. Dewey and Gail's relationship and their back and forth, really, it just felt like there's more to it because obviously they've been together in real life and no longer are. And I know they say they're friends, and it does look like they're still friends, especially doing these scenes together. But there's something that felt a little bit more, realness to them. Like, and some of the art, you could sort of feel like this is a couple that has a history. And I really enjoyed it. A couple points got me a little emotional. And David Arquette, I think it's hands down David Arquette's best performance in a Scream movie. He's sort of down on his luck, not, sad, and sort of thrusted back into the scene and sort of sets the wheels in motion in a way that I thought made a lot of sense and connects how the other characters, sort of the legacy characters, connect in. And it didn't feel forced. It really didn't feel forced. I mean, it's a Scream sequel. Don't get me wrong. It's still a Scream sequel. You got to be used to the sort of the Scream things that happen in a Scream movie. So if you're a fan of those, I really do think you're going to have a good time. This movie respects its elders. It brings them back in a way while still trying to let the new people shine. And I think in some ways, a lot of movies haven't really pulled that off. In this one, I don't know what else you could have done better. By sort of redoing Scream 1 again, which did they really need to do it? I guess not. But I wasn't offended. I mean, these slasher movies have always sort of been a repetitive genre to me personally. So I thought they actually did a pretty good job at trying to make it its own, another installment in this franchise. Yes, there's similar beats and cliches. However, they do bring in the legacy characters to help step it up a bit. And I like that they sort of acknowledged it. They do acknowledge it, the film. There's connections to the other films, which I won't spoil, but someone's... what's our plots? Plot summary spoilers. I'm going to give you one more little plot spoiler. If you got enough, go watch it. I'm going to give you one more little plot spoiler. If you want to sort of avoid them, then tune out now. Before you go, hit that subscribe button here to Movie World. Hit the bell for all likes. Smash that like button and leave a comment down below. But let me, are you excited for this? And what's your favorite Scream movie? I'd love all those thoughts in the comments down below. But I will say there's one interesting choice they make in this one where I always loved Randy, Jamie Kennedy's character. And so there's characters in this film that are related to him, and there's callbacks and things that I thought were smart and sort of justify the world of Scream coming back while still respecting its elders is really ultimately what they did as the assignment. And I got to say, good on them. And good to see Neve Campbell and Courteney Cox back. They are fun in this. To me, though, the standout was David Arquette, and then this is the new cast is there. This is the entire sort of cast, all the new people. I've seen some of these other people in other movies, but it was. I gotta say, overall, bravo team, respectful, fair, requel as they called it, reboot sequel. Do I need more of them? No. To me, this one sets the tone, has worked. I don't know if we need to keep going back to the well. I don't know. Maybe they'll justify its ending and twist somewhere else. But it does sort of summarize things in a way that I feel like you don't need to. But Scream has proven they will constantly figure out ways to reinvent themselves and reboot itself throughout. At the end, it does get I also got emotional just at the end. The final words are for Wes. And it's a big question of, did they need to make this movie without Wes Craven? And I was actually at a comic horror convention, Mad Monster, and they had Neve Campbell and the cast of Scream there. And I remember there's a video. In fact, I'll put it at the end of this video from Popcorn Planet. You can watch Neve Campbell talk about not doing a sequel and why would Wes want it and her thoughts there. Ultimately, though, I'm glad she did this. I think this honored Wes, the movie legacy, and wasn't offensive by any stretch of the imagination. If you are a Scream fan, get ready. If you're a slasher film, you'll have fun, but just be ready. It's another Scream sequel, but I would probably say it's better than some of the other ones. I do think they did a pretty good job here. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts down below. Are you excited for this one? Leave your comments down below. And thanks so much for watching all my reviews and news here on Movie World.